Hello, guys. Good morning, everybody. If I'm audible, let me know. Hanji, guys. Good morning, everybody. If I'm audible, let me know. Audible. Okay. Chaliye. Shall we start the session then? Yes. Right. Okay. Now, let's go and see the most important news that we have in today's newspaper. The first one is related to Qatar court drops death penalty for 8 Indians. I think this is the step that has been taken in the right direction, right? So one of the things that we have to understand is that these people that they were working in a private company in Qatar were on the charges of espionage, were basically convicted and given death penalty. Now their death penalty has been dropped, right? So this is a point that we have to understand, and they will have the chance that they can prove their innocence. So this is a very right step that has been taken, and it is very very important as well, considering that it shows the highlight of our diplomacy, that we have been able to achieve a breakthrough in this case of espionage that has been alleged against the 8 Indians, right? So these are the type of news that you need to understand and you need to relate it as well, right? आपको बस information होनी चाहिए. Okay. Pegasus spyware found on journalist phones after Apple alert, says amnesty. Now one of the thing that we have to do is that we will be studying this in text page, but एक बार इसको read कर लेते हैं कि इसके related क्या क्या developments हुई हैं. On October 30, opposition MPs and journalists got alerts from Apple saying their phones were being targeted by state-sponsored attackers. In 2021, many of the individuals were reportedly targeted by the Pegasus spyware. I think everybody is aware of these news, right? Pegasus, sold only to governments, allows attackers to extract data from even fully updated phones and may give them access to real-time mic and camera data. The Union government has not denied it bought or uses Pegasus. Trade data show that the Intelligence Bureau imported hardware in 2017 from the Pegasus maker NSO Group of Israel. So there are quite allegations that have been put forward against the government as well, that they have been trying to, let's say, track the phones and hack the phones of certain individuals and journalists, and the government hasn't said anything related to this, and the information from shows from the Intelligence Bureau that they had imported certain hardware that is from the Pegasus maker NSO Group of Israel. I hope this point is clear to everybody. It is very, very simple. I think you can relate it with, and these are the kind of news that you need to know, and you can relate it in your mains answer कि आपको पता होना चाहिए Pegasus 5 year क्या है. So you can get a question in prelims what is Pegasus, right? तो ये क्वेश्चन आप मिस नहीं कर सकते हो, तो इसलिए इनके बारे में जानकारी मिलना बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है कि एक्चुअली में अगर हम बात करें what is this Pegasus all about, right? Okay. Now moving to the next part, directly going to the editorial page, right? Okay. Now, the first article is related to despair in distress, right? Now, one of the things that I want to tell you is, I think everybody is aware of the Donkey movie, right? Donkey movie के बारे में सबने सुना होगा, that it has been recently been released of Shah Rukh Khan. But this donkey is basically a word that is being used in Punjab, basically donkey, right? Donkey route, or it is related to illegal migrants. When we see the cases, that is called the donkey route. Now, one of the things that highlights the movie and the recent grounding of a flight that was allegedly carrying out illegal migrants, and they were stopped at France airport, right? So one of the things that we have to understand is that this illegal migration that has been happening, it is quite rampant if we talk in the case of Punjab and Haryana. So first of all, it brings us to highlight the major question, that what is the reason for this big level of immigration or the illegal immigration or migration that has been happening. So first of all you have to understand is कि हमें ये पता होना चाहिए कि कहाँ से लोग illegal migration करते हैं. See, people illegally migrate to UK as well, to US as well. And when we talk about USA, they go through the heavily guarded borders of Mexico, and sometimes through the sparsely manned, very little manned, we can say, Canadian border. But we have seen people have been taking these pass, illegal migration, risking their lives. Recently, there have been certain deaths that have been reported as well, where people have been trying to illegally cross the let's say particular country and move from one country to another. Now the question is that why they are moving from one place to another. This brings us to highlight the major aspect that why this illegal migration. The first and the foremost reason that we can think related to this is better life conditions, or better, let's say, what we can say, let's say hope for better available, better conditions of life abroad, right? This is one of the reasons. Second thing that you have to understand is that there has been a certain farming crisis that has taken place in Punjab and Haryana, and that is driving the youth away from Punjab and Haryana, right? This is the point that we have to understand, that we Indians are willing to take risk and bear this enormous difficulties only to become illegal migrants in the US. It something suggests that they are doing so either in desperation, it could be due to, let's say, कि हमें abroad जाना है, or they are being misled, right? So this can also be another factor that is there, that they can be certain individuals that are being misled related to कि तुम यहाँ से जा रहे हो, अपना देश छोड़ के जा रहे हो, कहीं और जा रहे हो, और वहां पे जाके तुम illegal immigrants बन रहे हो. So something has to be understood and something has to be done drastically in order to make understand the people that what they are doing is not right. Because what we are seeing over here is that there has been almost over 1 lakh cases a year where we see the number of people that are flowing from India to outside as illegal migrants. And this basically is very much available and rampant in across rural Punjab and Haryana, right? So this is the point that we have to understand. One of the thing is, let's say, what we say is कि एक तो फार्मिंग में इश्यूज है, डिस्ट्रेस है फार्मिंग में, बेटर लाइफ कंडीशंस की होप है, थर्ड डेस्परेशन हो सकती है, फोर्थ क्या है, दे आर बीइंग मिसलेड. Somehow there have been certain reasons that has been given by some Sikhs, as it has been reported in the editorial, as alleged religious persecution. This is also one of the factor that is driving them away from their homeland. So these are the points that we need to understand when we talk about illegal migrants, and you can use them directly into your answers. It will help you a lot, and you need to be aware of these particular aspect, right? Now let us discuss a certain example related to this. Now, rise of Indians risking the rather precious route to enter the US through Mexico came to light when a 6-year-old girl from Punjab was found dead in Arizona desert in June 2019. This is just 9 months before the COVID-19 pandemic, which led the Trump administration to invoke the rarely used title number 42 of the US Code that deals with public health, empowering border agencies to turn away asylum seekers even without a hearing. So this is the point that we have to understand, and you can mention this point if you have to mention it in a certain example, that there have been certain cases where we have seen people are trying to illegally cross the border, but they are forgetting these things, that it might lead to them becoming an illegal immigrant in the USA, right? So this is the article that I was talking about. This is a very important article. I hope you are able to understand this, and you need to keep in your mind that these type of questions generally we see in the mains examination and we see in the interview examination as well, right? So there can be a question, right? Recently you have watched a movie Donkey. So what are your thoughts on this donkey route, right? कि क्यों हो रहा है ये donkey route, उसके कारण क्या है, इसको रोकने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए, right? So these are the type of things that we need to understand. Now question is what needs to be done. So this is the time Indian government has to pay attention to the trafficking racket that appears to be widespread across parts of rural Punjab and Haryana. So their situation has been exacerbated by the crisis they face in farming, with plummeting incomes and overexploited and fragmented farmlands. A crackdown on exploitative middlemen in the labor market can only be the beginning. So they are here talking about the middlemen who are basically making them go away from these their homeland and exploiting them. They shall be the one where we have a certain crackdown so that we are able to stop this illegal migrants that is being going from one country to another. I hope this article is clear to everybody. It is one of the most important article, and you have to mention and you have to remember, because next year this could be a potential mains question, right? Okay. Now, this is a very interesting article. It is related to old and strong. India and Russia seem keen on renewing ties in a change world. Now, one of the things you have to understand is, एक तो एनुअल लीडर समिट होती है, मीटिंग होती है इंडिया और रशिया के बीच में, where the top officials like the heads of the state meet. But somehow Mr. Modi ji has been avoiding these meets for 2 years. So as a result, this was bringing to a certain question that whether those ties between India and Russia are still the same. क्या हमारे टाइज अभी भी उतने स्ट्रांग हैं? सो वन ऑफ द थिंग दैट गेट्स बैक्ड बाय दिस पर्टिकुलर नैरेटिव एंड कॉनोटेशन इज कि हमारे थोड़े रिलेशनशिप्स अच्छे क्यों नहीं है, व्हाई आर रिलेशनशिप्स आर नॉट गुड, इज वन ऑफ द फैक्टर इज दैट we are dealing with Russia. If we have to pay them, we are paying them in third currency. This is one of the things that we have to understand. Second important thing that we have to understand is related to Russia Ukraine war. Third thing we have to understand is that there has been certain issues, that there have been, let's say, lesser of defense exchange that has happened between the two countries. So in this context, Mr. Shankar's visit and meeting Vladimir Putin was very important and very, we can say, crucial moment in India Russia relations. But that meet has been, generally we can say, it has been a success that can be corroborated by the investments that have been stated that would be done in Kudankulam nuclear power plant, fostering connectivity, trade and resuming talks for the Eurasian Economic Union Indian Free Trade Agreement, and joint military production indicate bilateral relations are on track. Similarly, multilateral cooperation, Russia plans to host the expanded BRICS summit, and India and Russia continue to coordinate positions at the UN, at the SCO, right? So these are the points that we have to understand that are very important, right? अब ये चीज है इंपॉर्टेंट है जहां से हम कह सकते हैं कि हाँ, थोड़े बहुत फ्लक्चुएशंस आ रहे थे इंडिया और रशिया की फ्रेंडशिप के बीच में, but now they are being resolved, and they are being resolved in a very good manner considering the path that we are taking. Here we are trying to take the economic path, military path, defense path, everything we can try to do so that we are not lagging behind in the case of India and Russia relationship. Now this message that has been spread by this connotation that next year there would be a annual leadership summit as well, so this brings a very important thing into highlight, which was stated by Mr. Jaishankar, was one, that India Russia relation, you can use this in your answer as well. India Russia relationship was the only constant in the world politics over the last 6 decades. Now, this particular statement means a lot, and it has gone let's say it would have gone very much noticed if we talk about in Washington and Beijing, given that there has been a certain friction with India, with US as well, right? ये चीजें चल रही हैं, पन्नू की इन्वेस्टिगेशन के ऊपर चल रही हैं, एज वेल एज प्रेसिडेंट जोसेफ बाइडेन ने अभी डिसीजन एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया मोदी जी का फॉर रिपब्लिक डे. सो एज अ रिजल्ट, this will certainly bring a very important and send a great message if we talk about USA, and certainly it would be a certain we can say statement that has been made to China as well in the context of India Russia relations. I hope this article is clear to everybody. Yes, there were certain hiccups, but now the walk we are taking is basically on the right track. That is India and Russia relation only constant in the last 6 decades in the world politics. आई होप दिस आर्टिकल इज क्लियर टू एवरीबडी. ये जो 2 आर्टिकल मैंने डिस्कस किए आज, यही 2 आर्टिकल थे जो सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट थे. हाँ जी. अच्छा, ये ना अब अगर हम बात करें, ये एंटी जियोनिज्म वर्सेस एंटी सेमिटिज्म है. अब एंटी सेमाइटिज्म अगर हम बात करें, सेमाइटिज्म रिलीजन हम बात करते हैं बेसिकली जूस, क्रिश्चियंस एंड लेट्स से जब हम बात करते हैं लेट्स से इस क्रिश्चियनिटी, इस्लाम एंड व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट जियोनिज्म, राइट? जो ज्यूज होते हैं वो, और जो मुस्लिम्स हो गए इस्लाम धर्म को, और जो क्रिश्चियंस हो गए क्रिश्चियनिटी को. Now, one of the things that you have to understand is that they are trying to say over here a very political article where the debate is related to that when we talk about USA, the statements and the what we see over here, they are more, we can say, in favor of Jews rather than being a Semitism, right? So this is the terminology that they have used over here. I don't think that is very important for our examination. You can skip this article, right? पढ़ना है तो पढ़ लेना, पर इतना important नहीं है. Okay. Houthi attacks a threat to global shipping. I think we have already discussed that there have been a certain attacks that have been taking place in the Red Sea by the Houthi rebels. So let's try to understand the gist of this. Nothing more than that, right? The recent drone attacks on the merchant vessels in the Red Sea by Houthi rebels have raised concerns about maritime security, disrupting global trade routes, and potentially impacting economies. These attacks have prompted some shipping companies to reroute vessels, avoid the Red Sea, and increase operational cost. Now, obviously, if you are being attacked, merchant ships, now they have to reroute, they have to take certain alternative route. Yes, it would increase the cost as well. Operational cost बढ़ेगी, तो जिसकी वजह से all over the world we can see certain inflation that can again happen. India heightened its presence, deploying various resources to counter potential threats in the region and monitor maritime activity, right? However, uncertainties persist regarding potential future attacks, response strategy, ब्रॉडर implications फॉर द ग्लोबल ट्रेड एंड इकोनॉमीज, राइट? हमें आने वाले टाइम में देखना पड़ेगा कि इसका क्या फर्क पड़ता है, बट ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है. नाउ इन दिस कंटेक्स्ट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट ऑन December 23 the crisis in the Red Sea reached Indian waters as well, when Liberian flagged merchant vessel Shem Poluto heading to Mangalore port was hit by a projectile about 271 miles from Porbandar in Gujarat, just outside the exclusive economic zone. This comes in the backdrop of a sharp rise in missile and drone attacks on a commercial shipping in the Red Sea by Houthi rebels in Yemen in the last couple of weeks, following Israel's offensive against Hamas in Gaza. Now you need to remember the name of the vessel as well, Shem Plateau, right? So ये एक point पता होना चाहिए, and then that was Liberian flat. I hope this point is clear to everybody. ओके, अब ये पेगासस स्पाईवेयर है टारगेटिंग जर्नलिस्ट इन इंडिया, हमने पहले ही देख रखा है ये. इसको एक बार फिर से देख लेते हैं क्या है ये, है ना? एमनेस्टी इंटरनेशनल हैव फाउंड claims evidence that the Pegasus spyware targeting Indian journalists in their forensic analysis after Apple issued security notifications in October. Anand Magnel, a journalist that was targeted via zero-click exploit. So this could be a terminology that could be asked in the examination. What is zero-click exploit related to? So it is an iMessage related to his investigative work, while Siddharth Vadarajan was targeted using the same attacker control email address. The spyware's method known as BlastPass exploited vulnerabilities in iMessage by sending malicious content that is aiming to install Pegasus on the victim device without the इंट्रैक्शन, राइट? आपको मैसेज भेजेंगे आई मैसेज के थ्रू और वो आपके सिस्टम में जाके इंस्टॉल हो जाएगा, एंड देन दे कुड हैव एक्सेस टू योर ईमेल, यू हैव एक्सेस टू योर कैमरा डेटा, माइक, एवरीथिंग कुड बी एक्सेस, राइट? सो दिस इज अ वेरी मच वी कैन से डेंजर टू थ्रेट टू द प्राइवेसी ऑफ अ पर्सन. ओके, moving to the next part, right? Now, this is the important news that you need to understand that women account for 49% of Ayushman card. 55 crore individuals corresponding to 12 crore families are currently under the scheme. Now, when we talk about Jan Arogya Yojana, it is the largest publicly funded health assurance scheme in the world that provides an annual health cover of 5 lakh for a family for secondary and tertiary care hospitalization, right? So, this is a point that we have to understand. Okay, now coming to the next part. Now, this is important news. COVID hit, MSMEs can tap new relief window from January 1. Now, one of the things you have to understand is that COVID-19 में ना MSC sector was had quite taken a bad hit. You all remember everything what happened to MSME sector, right? So as a result, there were a lot of procurement orders that were given by the government to these MSMEs, which they were not able to deliver because of the crunch, cash crunch, right? A lot of things that happened during COVID. As a result, now those contracts, they let's say they needs to be settled. As a result, a scheme was launched that is with Vivad se Vishwas, right? To settle those contracts. Now this particular scheme के बारे में लोगों को इतनी जानकारी नहीं थी. People were not aware of these विवाद से विश्वास scheme. So as a result, government is saying now they can tap the new relief window for this related under विवाद से विश्वास one scheme only, that is from January 1st, so that the more cases are settled and the balance sheets of what we say MSME sector looks fine and healthy. Okay, now there is nothing important over here. ठीक है, ट्रेड डेटा टू शो रेड सी टर्मोइल हिट, राइट? ये हमने बोला कि ये होगा ही होगा. चाइना शाओमी अनवेल्स फर्स्ट इलेक्ट्रिक कार, राइट? अब इन्होंने अपनी इलेक्ट्रिक कार भी बना दी है. पहले इन्होंने अपने, अगर हम बात करें, स्मार्टफोन बना रहे थे. नाउ दे आर मेकिंग देयर ओन इलेक्ट्रिक कार. एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू गाइस, चाइना बहुत सारी कार मैन्युफैक्चर करता है. दे डोंट गेट सप्लाई ओवर इन इंडिया, राइट? ये ज्यादा रशिया जाती हैं. अगर आपको पता होगा, यू हैव समवन देयर इन चाइना एंड रशिया, you must be asking them that where is China sending their cars. Mostly it is imported to or exported to Russia, right? Read about that. Okay, ठीक है guys, so I think that's it for today, right? I hope you were able to understand today's newspaper. Very interesting, very simple, right? कोई ज्यादा खास नहीं था, but yes, it was very important and very very important that we shall be continuously making stringent efforts कि हम अपना न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते रहें. न्यूज़पेपर रीडिंग इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इफ यू विल नॉट रीड द न्यूज़पेपर देन यू विल लैक ऑन समथिंग, राइट? एक थोड़ा टाइम है हमारे पास, तो कुछ चीजें बताना चाहूंगा. I see के some students get this is a time period. A lot of students get what we call a lethargic हो जाते हैं. lethargy सी नहीं आ जाती है ना, कि यार ठीक है यार न्यूज़पेपर. But I'm telling you guys, one of the way to feel confident about your preparation is if you are reading newspapers daily. If you are not reading newspapers daily, I'm telling you, you will be missing on a lot of things. It takes a dent on your confidence and it will help you a lot. If I am saying you, okay, you read newspaper daily, then one who has been a constant follower of any channel, right? Not mine, anyone, right? So one of the thing you have to understand is कि कोई भी एनालिसिस आप देख रहे हो उसका आपको एक फायदा तो मिलता ही मिलता है। क्या वो फायदा ये है कि आप एक तो रेगुलर हो जाते हो, 9 बजे आपकी पढ़ाई शुरू हो जाती है। दूसरी चीज, आपको करंट अफेयर सारे अपडेट हो जाते हैं। तीसरी चीज, अब आप अपने आंसर्स में इसको यूज कर सकते हो, डेटा एक्सट्रैक्ट किया आपने, साथ में नोट डाउन कर लिया। ठीक है, जिन्होंने तो तैयारी अच्छे से कर रखी है वो तो फटाफट कर सकते हैं, उसमें कोई इशू नहीं है। ओके, जीनोम एडिटिंग बच्चा, अगर माधुरी जी, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट, इट इज बेसिकली रिलेटेड टू, मान लो कि किसी के जीन्स में म्यूटेशन चल रहा है, तो वो क्या म्यूटेशन हो सकता है उसकी प्रॉपर सीक्वेंसिंग करनी, ताकि हम उसको रिस्पॉन्ड कर सके अकॉर्डिंगली टू द चेंजेस, हम वैसा डोजेस बना सके, हम अपना एंटी डोज बना सकें या अपनी वैक्सीन बना सके, समथिंग रिलेटेड टू दैट, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाई जीनोम एडिटिंग एंड सीक्वेंसिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। अगर अब तुम जीन एडिटिंग की बात कर रहे हो तो वो क्रिस्पर टेक्नोलॉजी है कि कोई स्पेसिफिक एनॉमली है तो उसके अंदर तुम चेंज करना चाह रहे हो जीन्स के अंदर, राइट? सो बिकॉज देयर आर सर्टेन डिजीजेस दैट वी गेट फ्रॉम बाय जीन्स, राइट? सिकल सेल एनीमिया हो गया, तो उसको हम ठीक कैसे कर सकते हैं? उसको हम जीन में एडिटिंग करके कर सकते हैं। हाँ जी, एनी अदर डाउट एनीवन हैज? क्लियर? ओके, एंड आई हैव सीन सर्टेन स्टूडेंट्स व्हाट दे फील लाइक इज, यार एक काम करते हैं हम ना, 1 जनवरी से न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना शुरू करेंगे, एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू गाइस, वो 1 जनवरी कभी आती ही नहीं है। अगर तुम आज नहीं कर रहे हो 1 जनवरी में, अलग क्या हो जाएगा? क्या पता पेपर में 4 क्वेश्चन आ जाए और वो इसी के न्यूज़पेपर में से आ जाए जो हमने 3 दिन में कवर करें, राइट? सो बी स्पेसिफिक अबाउट योर प्रेपरेशन, दिस टाइम विल नेवर कम अगेन, फोकस ऑन दैट, राइट? चलिए, थैंक यू सो मच गाइस, आई विल सी यू टुमारो सेम टाइम 9 AM, टिल देन टेक केयर, बाय बाय।